What's up, fellas? Welcome to a brand new episode of The Sports Student. My name is Wendell Epps, aka The Sports Student. In today's podcast, I'll be interviewing Hailey Hunter. Hailey currently works as a sports anchor for WJTV 12. And in this podcast, Hailey will talk about her experiences working in the sports media industry and also give some great advice on how to succeed in the industry as a whole. So sit back, relax, enjoy the podcast, and without further ado, this is a sports student interview with Hailey Hunter. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Sports Student. My name is Wendell Epps. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Hailey Hunter. Hailey, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. How are you doing, and how's your summer been going?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. It's good because we finally have sports back in full motion, so life is good right now.
That's awesome to hear. So really quickly, can you just give the audience a little background about yourself, where you got started in the sports media industry and where you are now?
Yeah, for sure. Well, so I went to Ohio University and majored in sports journalism there. Worked in the golf industry for about 3 years, and now I am at WJTV as a sports anchor in Jackson, Mississippi. So living up the SEC religion down here.
That's awesome to hear. So I got to ask you, how is it like being in Mississippi and that Southern lifestyle?
Well, it was a difference for me, being from up north and having to shovel snow under my tires to get to school every day. It's a little different up north than down here. Very hot right now in the summertime, but I love it. Everyone's so nice down here. The Southern hospitality is a real thing. And it's SEC country. I mean, you can't beat SEC football and high school football in Mississippi. So I've really liked it.
That's true. And what's your favorite thing to do in Mississippi when you're not working?
Oh, well, when I moved here, I grew up at the ice rink, the hockey rink my whole life.
Nice.
So I asked everybody, I was like, where's the nearest hockey rink? Because where I'm from, and my family's from Canada too. I mean, it's like asking, where's the nearest grocery store, right?
Yeah.
But here, no ice. So I actually got rollerblades, and I rollerblade on all of the trails around here, all the bike trails. So that's my fun thing I do.
That's very cool to hear. And where did this love for sports and sports media come from?
Yeah, I mean, so I have a twin brother, and I think growing up with a brother who always played sports his whole life, as well as my dad, I just kind of grew up a tomboy. And because of that, I've played every sport growing up because I just kind of did what my twin brother did and just fell in love with being competitive because he is too. So that's, I think, kind of where it came from. That's
fantastic. Are you better than your brother? Would you say most of sports or?
Let me think here. I would say my brother played D1 golf too. Very good golfer. He was a good hockey player. I can beat him at figure skating though. That's
okay.
I'm better at him in.
You can beat him at something. No, that's good.
Yeah, something. No, he's a really good athlete.
That's awesome to hear. And you actually playing golf in college. How do you feel like that actually helped you with your career, now working in the sports media industry?
Yeah, being a student athlete does really help. I've heard from a lot of hiring managers that they just kind of know when you're a student athlete that you've had to learn some pretty extensive time management skills. And a lot of people golf too. So sometimes when I'm interviewing for stuff, I've had people mention oh, you're a golfer. I play too. A lot of people when they were retired golf. So I would say golf wise, yeah, it's definitely helped me quite a bit.
Yeah. And I'm sure when you're covering golf, you having that experience, it just makes it easy. It's just so natural. And if you're someone that's asking a golfer questions, I'm oh, you play golf too. So it's it's that whole connection and familiarity. But for you, you being pretty early still in your sports media career, how have you seen the industry though, change since you first entered it?
It really has changed. I think it's gotten more competitive, to be honest, because a lot of the sideline reporter jobs, they're doing away with.
Yeah.
We can use hosts and the technology we have now today for all of that stuff. So that's kind of changed in that way. I think you have to really be able to do it all. I know I've had people, I'm in local news now, and I have to shoot my own video, edit my own video, and produce and host my own video. Sports makes you do that. And I've had people who are at the station now who were here 10 years ago who said, oh no, we always had photographers shoot our stuff. You only had to really do the reporting part of it. So I think now, because jobs are minimizing, it makes it so that sports reporters have to really have all of those skills. And another thing I will say is it's kind of like you're going away from TV and going into streaming now. And a lot of the better jobs are for sports betting and streaming. And there's just a lot of different avenues you can take now.
There sure are. And like you mentioned, like sort of like being like a one woman band now. Can
Yeah.
you speak on the importance of just like having those variety of skills? Like knowing how to be in front of the camera is obviously fantastic, but knowing how to edit, knowing how to shoot. Can you speak a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, it's very important. I've actually recently discovered this when I've talked to other teams and organizations, and they kind of assume that if you're a sports reporter, you just know how to do the on-camera part of it. And they're really surprised when I tell them that I can edit and shoot my own video. And it actually it makes you much more valuable because companies can, let's say, instead of hiring a video editor and a shooter and a reporter, they're like, oh, I can save money. I can hire one person to do the payment, of 3 different jobs. So yeah, pretty much I would say 99% of the time companies want to do that. So it really does help to have all those skills.
It sure does. Which one do you enjoy more, shooting or editing?
Hmm. Well, you didn't say on cam because that's my favorite
Yeah,
report. But
that's
I would
obvious.
say I kind of enjoy editing. I don't know. I kind of feel like editing, you're putting a story together from start to finish. So I would have to say that
Yeah.
editing.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that too. Do you remember the first story you ever did like by yourself where you shot it, you edited it? You remember that?
Let's see. I'm trying to think here. First story. I mean, I kind of did some stuff in college, but I can't even remember, honestly, the stuff I first started doing in college. So I would probably say, yeah, the LPGA Tour. I did a really cool story on the Adaptive Golfers organization. Basically, it's an organization that helps people and kids with disabilities play golf. And they have all these different gadgets and tools and stuff. So that took me a while to put that story together, but that was a good one. Probably my first one I did.
Yeah, that's an awesome story to do for your first time. And like now you being in local news, is there like a normal day? Do you have a normal day routine or is every day different in a way?
I will say every day is a little bit different. And that's kind of why I like it. My old job, if I wasn't traveling for the tournaments and I was at the desk, at my desk at home in Daytona, it was kind of like an 8 to 5 job. And I didn't really like that. So, you're covering a different story every day. So in that sense, it's different every day. But I anchor 4 times a week. So I host our 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock 4 times a week. And then the other 1 to 2 times a week, I'm in the field doing stories. So, and I work in sports, usually work second shift. So you've got to be a night owl. I work from 2 to almost midnight on most days that I work.
Wow.
So people sometimes make fun of me because they're like 10 a.m. and I haven't texted them back yet, but I'm like, I'm sleeping.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to get your sleep at some point.
Working sports. Yeah. Yep.
Were you a night owl growing up? So like, did it make it easy or were you a
I
morning
was.
person?
Yeah, I was. I think it's just the sports environment too. Because
Yeah.
my dad coached my brother's hockey team, and they wouldn't get back from practice until 9:30 at night. So, again, my friends thought it was weird. We were eating dinner at 9:30 at night, but that was just normal for us. So, I guess it kind of helped me in a way. I'm used to that schedule.
Exactly. Yeah, it helps you out in the long run. And like, how active are you on social media? What are your thoughts on like social media sort of taking over the sports media industry? Because that's a thing, and I think everyone can admit to that. But like, how do you feel about that?
It's so important. One of my best friends who used to work for Golf Channel was just telling me something that her agent said to me, and it really opened my eyes up. She was like, if you're not posting about what you're doing in your career, you pretty much aren't on the radar. You kind of have to be posting what you're doing nowadays for people to know that you're, on the radar in your career. So it's important to do that. And I would say the most connections I've made have been through social media, through people telling me they liked a story I did on Twitter or Instagram. So I would say it's really important. Twitter is huge. I would say is probably the biggest thing in our industry.
So you would say Twitter's your favorite social media platform?
It's actually, so Twitter is the most important in our industry, but Instagram is my favorite. I've always loved Instagram. I
Yeah.
just think there's so many things you can do. I love taking pictures and posting pictures. So I've always liked Instagram. I originally started growing my Instagram because I turned pro in golf when I graduated college. So I was just posting videos trying to get sponsors. And then it's crazy how if you just keep up to date with your posts on social media, you can take off. So it definitely is a big factor.
That's very true. Is there any social media platform that you're not like the biggest fan of?
Facebook. Growing up, I loved Facebook, but now I feel like my mom's on there, my 80-year-old grandma's on there. And they're like, why didn't you message me back? I'm like, honestly, I didn't see it. I just don't really do Facebook anymore.
Yeah, no, I feel like, yeah, people that are younger, they just don't use Facebook. It's just not a thing. So I'll be curious. Do you think Twitter is going to end up sort of like how Facebook is now someday? Or you think Twitter's always going to be around?
I kind of feel like Twitter is always going to be more of the industry career type platform. It could in the long run, but I think for a while now, it'll probably be for that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And like with you working, obviously like having like these crazy hours sometimes, how do you balance the work schedule in the sports media industry while also maintaining a social and a personal life?
Yeah, well, when I first moved here, I didn't have much of a social life because I was just like, I got to grind and, get all this experience and create a demo reel in a sense. But I would say, I mean, it just comes down to time management, so try to get to bed as quickly as you can after you're done covering a sporting event so that you don't sleep until noon the next day, so you can wake up at 10 a.m. and go work out. I think working out is actually a huge thing that helps keep you sane with the hours that we have. So I make sure that I do that about 4 times a week. But yeah, it really just comes down to time management, and it's important to fit in that social life because if you just work, it'll drive you crazy sometimes.
Yeah, you definitely got to balance it too because it's just so important. It'll lead to a healthier life. Is there any event that you did in the past that you would say is like your most memorable one that you ever covered?
Yeah, so I recently did, I freelanced for Golf Channel and I covered the Woodmont Country Club site in Maryland for a US Open qualifier. There was a bunch going around in the United States for it. And the way it works is if you finish usually first through 6, depending how many spots there are at each tournament, you qualify to play in the US Open. So it's a pretty big deal. And that I prepared so hard for that. And I can't stress how much preparation is key because if you prepare so hard for a gig in advance, you're going to be fine once you get there. And that was where I really learned that. Had really no idea who all 72 of the players were because a lot of them aren't the big names that you can look up. And I had a book where I had every name in alphabetical order with their stats on it. And it probably took me like 15 hours to create that book. But if I knew that I was having an interview with somebody walking off the green and I had 1 minute to prepare for whoever this player was, I could just flip to their name in the book. So that was probably my favorite event to cover because I'm a golfer and golf's the sport I'm most passionate about. But it also really taught me just how important preparation is. Because if I didn't have that book, I mean, I wouldn't have had time to look up those players at all.
Yeah, exactly. Preparation's so key. Did you handwrite that book?
I was going to, and then I realized my handwriting isn't as good as it once was because we type everything now. So then I typed it up and then I printed it out and taped it all to each separate page.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that's still very impressive. So what would you say is like your normal like preparation? Like what is something you do to try to get ready for any story you're covering?
Yeah, I would say it depends kind of how big the story is and how much I already know about the topic. But I would say I probably do about at least a half hour of research before I study something or before I cover something. Just kind of type it up in my notes on my laptop. And then a lot of times I'll copy and paste it and send it to my phone so that I have it with me on site. Let's see, SEC football season, we have a big hour-long pre-show for all the Ole Miss games. And so I probably take about 2 hours studying for that game. Because when you're live, you never know if a guest doesn't show up to interview and you have to ad lib for 5 minutes and you just have to be prepared. So yeah, I would probably take a good amount of time for those type of things.
Yeah, that's very good. And like taking your time, being ready, making sure you're prepared. Like it's just so important. And like covering SEC like that's awesome. I mean, like what are some things you're looking forward to, especially like with the SEC football season getting ready to start up?
It's so fun. And last year, I'm so glad we had a season because I had moved here thinking, okay, I came here for the SEC. People are like, why did you move to Jackson, Mississippi? Like, well, we have 2 SEC teams here and our station does a really good job with extra sports emphasis coverage. And, we didn't get to be on the field. And I think this year they're going to let us leave the press box to be in the field. So I'm really excited to do that. Because, when you're in the press box, you're kind of away from everything. You're way up high. There's like the glass there. You can't hear everything. Being on the field will be fun. Mike Leach, being the coach of Mississippi State, is just so fun. His press conferences, hopefully those will be in person this year. I mean, the guy's just hilarious. Half the time he doesn't even talk about football. Everybody at SEC Media Day was just laughing the whole time in the media room. So he keeps it fun.
That's what it's all about. Like sports, you can goof off every now and then. Honestly, probably a lot more than every now and then because that's just how it is. It's
Yeah,
it's
well, hey, we get so serious about sports, but at the end of the day,
yeah,
it's a game, you know?
that's very true. Yeah, that's what it's all about. And like, how would you describe yourself in front of the camera? What's your on camera style like?
I would say, it's kind of funny because I'm a very laid back, chill, fun person when I'm just hanging out with my friends. But when it comes to work, I'm a little bit more serious on camera. So I would say I'm a pretty serious sports reporter style. I think sometimes I'm going to try and loosen up a little bit more, but it's just because I've got so many stats and things I've looked up that I want to say. But yeah, I mean, I would say sometimes it depends on the environment. Sometimes when we're hosting more of the laid back lifestyle shows, I have some fun with it. So kind of just depends.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, is there like any time you had to report something from like a very like crazy environment, like a bunch of people were around you?
Yes. Well, every time you shoot a stand up in local news after the game, which most stations you'll have to shoot it yourself on the field. They did let us go down to the field for that. I mean, you're going to have the frat guys yelling at you or, just the random drunk fans yelling at you. And you've got to wait till they stop and then just pause, take a deep breath, and then start again for your stand up. Best experience I've had, or maybe the worst. I thought it was funny. I went live in a tropical storm, almost a hurricane, the Ole Miss Alabama game. And so I just had to keep going. I mean, we were drenched as we were doing interviews, but I just had to keep going. I think I had the tent fall over at me at one point right before going live. So that was the most interesting experience.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's not cool at all.
What I
But
would
like,
call reporter dedication right there.
oh yeah, no, that is a reporter dedication. I mean, that's what you sign up for. You never know what you're gonna get, when you're in the sports media industry.
Yep.
Anything can really happen. Is the weather generally nice though in Mississippi?
Yeah, it's really hot here right now though. I was just had a couple football practices doing some previews today, and I don't know how those guys practice with pads on. I mean, we hit 109 degrees a couple days ago. So I got to figure out some makeup that's not going to sweat off my face. That's my next step because it gets really hot down here in Mississippi.
That's very true. And
Yeah.
you working like studying sports journalism on that track, like in college, while also being an athlete. How did you balance the two?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it was actually pretty hard for me because my golf coach had practices scheduled from 3 to 6, which is typically when our newscast would be for our TV station at our school. So I wasn't really as involved as I wanted to be in the sports broadcasting program at my school, which is my biggest advice. Because I look back now and I realize all these opportunities I would have had just to get reps, even if you mess up and it's not the greatest hit on camera when you're creating a package, it doesn't matter because it's college and you're going to have to do that for your next job when you graduate. So I wish I would have had more time to get those reps and practice being on camera and learning what my voice would be like on camera. Because I think that's really important. It does take a while for you to really feel comfortable in front of the camera, and everyone's got their own personality and their own voice, and it takes reps to figure that out.
Yeah, the more reps you get, just the better you're going to get in general. So it's all about getting that practice. Is there anyone in the sports media industry that you look up to?
Let me think here. There's quite a few. I'm trying to think. I like Catherine Tappan on NHL Network. I think she does a good job. And I like Cara Banks on Golf Channel. I'm a golf girl, so I've always followed her. I think she does a really good job. And I like her because I know she worked her way up. I've talked to her before, and she worked her way up from the local news standpoint too. I always respect people who really grinded their way from the bottom to the top, didn't know anybody, and really grinded.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's always great to be able to look up to people in the industry because it only makes you better. Just great role models in general. I have to ask you here, this is a $1 million question. I want you to give me 3 reasons why people should start watching golf more.
Okay, that is a good one. I would say 1, it's a sport that everyone can play for a lifetime. I mean, you could be 70 years old and you could still pick up a golf club. Maybe 60 years old, depending the kind of shape you're in, and play and enjoy the game. You don't have to be super great at it. People just go out there and play it for fun. But you couldn't really do that on the football field. How many 70-year-olds do you see chucking, running routes on the football field? You don't. I would say number 2, this sounds cliche, but I think golf is a game that really relates to life a lot. It teaches you a lot of patience. Ask anyone who's tried to play. Number three, very good for networking. You mentioned this earlier, but a lot of the opportunities I've gotten have been through golf. And at a young age too, if you start playing golf in high school or college and you have that skill set, a lot of times it's going to help you no matter what industry you're in.
Yeah, I love that. Those are some great reasons. So
Yeah.
the audience should definitely start playing more golf after watching this.
Yeah, I hope so. It's a great game. Highly recommend.
Yeah, definitely. It is a great game. Like throughout your entire life, I know you've been to probably many hundreds of golf courses. What has been your favorite golf course that you ever been to? And what has been the worst golf course you ever been to?
Let's see here. Favorite golf course would be Portland Golf Club.
Okay.
And it could have just been because the experience was so cool. I qualified and played in the USAM out there, and that was in 2015. But just the way the USGA treated you and everything was awesome. It was like playing in the US Open in a sense. But the golf course was beautiful. I just loved it out there. Loved the grass. I think it was definitely bent grass, really nice grass out there. Least favorite, I can't think of the name, but sometimes in high school, they would send us to these golf courses that were just not very nice to play these little 9-hole jamborees. I remember one time we went somewhere in the middle of nowhere and the green didn't feel like a green that you're putting on. It felt like you were just putting through grass. I don't know the name because it wasn't worth remembering, but that was my worst course.
That's funny to hear. Yeah, I mean, golf course, there's some really good ones out there, like really good ones. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome.
You play golf?
No, I've actually only played golf once in my life.
So, did I convince you at all with my 3 reasons?
You definitely did. I know I have a lot of great friends who are really into golf. So if I ever want to play golf, I have that opportunity to go ahead and play with them. Do you have, I'm not the biggest golf expert, but there's different golf clubs, right? Like,
yep.
Okay. Yeah. What golf club would, because I'm left-handed. So what golf club would you recommend for a good lefty?
I would say start with the driver because it's the most fun. The driver you tee off with and it goes the furthest. That's what you can tee up. And then there's irons. I would just get like a basic 7 iron. And then there's fairway woods. I would just get like a basic 5 wood. And that way you can just learn with those 3 clubs. And then of course a putter as your 4th. And then if you like it, you can get the rest of the clubs. And if you get the rest of the clubs, you can have anywhere from 12 to 14 in the bag. But enough to learn, those 4 clubs should get you started. And I would recommend Topgolf because they already have the clubs there for you.
Yeah.
It's just a fun environment to learn.
It definitely is. So what are some qualities that make a good golfer? Like how long would you think it would take for me to become at least like a solid, not like a professional, but decent?
Look, I would say the most important thing is just to have that one beginning lesson from somebody who knows how, because people who try to do it on their own just get frustrated because it's not a game you can just pick up easily like other sports. You could be the most coordinated person, but if you don't know the correct way to stand and hold the golf club, you're not going to be good. So I would just recommend that first beginning lesson, and then you should be good from there. Okay,
awesome. Have you given golf lessons before?
I have. Yeah. It's funny. People always ask me and I'm like, I'm not certified. I don't have like my tour card to teach or anything, but I really should be more open-minded to it because I know I can teach people the basics. So I have a couple times with friends. Yeah.
So you would be down to start your own golf teaching service maybe someday?
On the side, yeah, I definitely would. I kind of feel bad because there's so many people who go to school to get certified,
Yeah.
Be a teaching pro. But at the end of the day, I could charge a little bit less, and I'm sure people would rather pay less anyways, to not have a teaching pro teach them. So I might do it.
Yeah. And 2 follow-up questions to that. 1, if you were to start a golfing service, what would be the name of it? And then 2, what is your teaching style like when it comes to golf?
Well, teaching style, I think I would put an emphasis on short game, putting and chipping, because people love to just talk about how far you can hit the ball. But at the end of the day, the way you score is at the end of the hole on the green. So my style would be an emphasis on short game. A name. Ooh, this is hard. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I'm not good at thinking of slogans on the spot. I will get back to you.
Okay, sounds great. And for you, what's the end goal for you in the sports media industry? What are you hoping to achieve long term?
I would say I'm still kind of figuring it out because growing up in a hockey golf family, I always thought I wanted to end up in hockey or golf, NHL Network or Golf Channel or a major network for golf. But ever since I moved here, I really like the SEC football environment and basketball and baseball. It's just really helped me fall in love with those other more basic American sports, I guess you could say. So I'm just going to kind of figure it out as opportunities come to me. And at the end of the day, I enjoy covering everything.
That's awesome. Well, you definitely have a bright future ahead of you. You're already doing some incredible things. So I can't wait to see what you do for years to come. Yeah, of course. Well, I put you on the spot a couple minutes ago, but I'll have to put you on the spot again because I'm going to be asking you some rapid fire questions if you're up for it.
All right.
All right, let's do it. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Fly. I've always thought that was so cool.
Awesome. Would you have a superhero name? What would your superhero name be?
Golf woman.
Golf woman. Love that. What's one food you can't live without?
Ooh, steak. Big steak girl, and it's got to be rare.
That's a good steak. Yeah. What's one city that you have not been to, but you like to visit someday?
I would say, I know there's one. I'm trying to think of which one I've wanted to go to. Uh-oh. Do I have a timer clock?
No timer.
I know things have been kind of bad there, but I really have wanted to check out Seattle.
Okay. That's very cool. Favorite sports movie of all time?
Favorite sports movie of all time, Happy Gilmore. Don't even have to think about that. Yep.
That's a good one. What are your 3 favorite hobbies to do that are not sports, golf related? None of that. Just 3 favorite hobbies to do.
Okay, let's see here. I mean, I love my girl time. Love socializing and having happy hour with the girls. Rollerblading. I know it's kind of hockey related, but I love doing that. And I love working out. Super into fitness.
Very cool. What's your favorite genre of music?
Believe it or not, I love rap music. I love Lil Baby.
Nice. You have a favorite song?
Emotionally Scarred by Lil Baby.
That's a good
one.
Love
that one.
Love that one. If you weren't working in the sports media industry, what would you be doing?
So this is kind of a long shot. Acting. I think acting would be so much fun, or real estate. My dad and brother are realtors. I just love talking to people. So I think I'd really like that.
That's awesome. If you were acting and you have your own show, envision this, you have your own TV show, you're the star. What would you want the TV show to be about, and what would you want your character to be like?
Oh, that's a good one. It would probably, this is kind of cliche for a girl to say, but it'd probably be like an independent woman type thing, like doing her own thing, working her way up in her career in the city or something like that.
5 years from now, we'll be binge watching that show on Netflix. So
hey, I hope so. You heard it here first.
Definitely. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve. So my family is like a very fast. We just do everything fast. We talk fast, we walk fast. And people at the grocery store who just walk so slow, it drives me crazy. Because for me, people think I'm probably on Adderall or something. I'm like zooming through there, trying to pick up everything as quick as I can. So that's slow people for me is a pet peeve.
So you're a fast shopper in general?
Yes. It's like I make it into a game. I'm like, how quickly can I get this many things and get out of this grocery store?
That's very cool. What's your favorite quote of all time?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take by Wayne Gretzky.
That's a great quote.
I used to have that on my Instagram bio.
Love that. And a couple more for you here. What was your favorite and least favorite subject in school?
Favorite subject was always English. Shocker there. I'm a journalist now. Least favorite, science. I mean, I was never good at those experiments. I always had to have someone help me. I don't know. My brain just does not work with instructions and all that kind of stuff.
Was it like chemistry, physics that really struggled? Was it just all of them in general?
Yep. Those words you just said just brought back memories. I'm like cringing here. Chemistry. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not cool. And last one here. What's one fun fact a lot of people do not know about Hailey Hunter?
One fun fact. Let's see here. One fun fact. I would say very genuine person. Sometimes you see people on social media and you don't really know, if they have a following, if they're really who they try to portray themselves as, but I would say I'm a very genuine, caring person. And if you get to know me, you'll know that.
That's awesome. I mean, I've got to know that through this interview. So, Hailey, I mean, I really just thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. So keep up the great work. Big things ahead for you.
Yep. And anyone watching, happy to help you guys network in your career because I've been there.
For sure. Thanks again for coming on.
Thank you so much.
All right, fellas, so that was the sports student interview with Hailey Hunter. Another big shout out to Hailey for coming on the podcast today. She was a fantastic guest to have on. But that'll do it for today's episode. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so you do not miss a single new episode of a sports student interview. But that'll do it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next one. All right, y'all, take care. Sports student signing out. Peace.